guys, how's it going? So today we're going to focus on a little bit of planting. I've got a couple of ornamental grasses, maybe a shrub or two I want to get planted on the new property, and then I want to get garlic planted. Like, this is the most important thing I want to get done today. And we have showed you garlic planting in a lot of videos throughout the year because it's something I do every single year, except this year I'm getting after it about a month sooner than I did last year. It was mid-November or so, but we still had an amazing crop of garlic. So this is it right here. Isn't that beautiful? This is all Italian, which is a soft neck variety, and it's one of my favorites. And I've been planting from my own seed crop for years now. I haven't had to buy garlic in a long time. And we always plant our garlic up here, kind of closer to the house. Benjamin is out here working the soil already. You getting some holes dug there with your drill? Good job. This is where the glass gem corn was, so we're gonna get garlic planted in this bed as well as on the other side. I had beans in this bed, so we're gonna do both 3x6 raised beds full of the Italian garlic. So the most important information about garlic, as it pertains at least to my area, and I know for a lot of you guys, we plant in the fall and we harvest right around 4th of July every single year. Sometimes it makes its appearance before winter. You'll see little green shoots and they're totally fine even under snow and freezing temperatures, whatever. They pick up and start growing again in the spring. Sometimes you don't see them emerge to the spring. Either way, their roots are still going for it and forming underneath the soil surface. They are heavy feeders, as all alliums are, so we are going to be putting compost and biotone starter fertilizer in these beds when we plant. And usually I'll make a trench about anywhere, depending on the size of cloves, we'll go 2 to 4 inches deep, and then I space the cloves out maybe 4 to 6 inches. I'm trying to think if there's any other pertinent information. I water them in today, and then if we have really long dry spells, I'll give them a little bit of supplemental water. But at this point of the season, they won't be watered really consistently because I don't want to rot the bulbs out, or the cloves out rather. Okay, so anatomy of our garlic. This is what we refer to as a head of garlic, which is basically just comprised of a bunch of cloves, individual cloves, around kind of a center stalk here. Let me show you. So here you can kind of see where the cloves are coming together, but we don't plant the whole head of garlic. We plant individual cloves like this that will then turn into this head of garlic in one growing season. So this one head of garlic will turn into 1, 2, 3, 4, 13, 14, 15. 15 heads of garlic. Oh, both cats are going to join us too. Hello, kitties. So it's very important that you try to leave as much of that papery skin intact around each clove of garlic here, because that's what helps moisture from like staying out and not rotting the clove out. You'll also probably see the terms hard neck and soft neck. So the Italian that I grow is a soft neck. See how that is really flexible? Soft neck garlic is typically a tiny bit more mild in flavor. You can braid soft neck garlic. You can't really do that with hard neck. It's much more difficult unless you braid it right away after harvest. And typically soft neck you get more cloves, while hard necks, it's usually the center stalk that goes right down into the center, and then there's one ring of cloves around that stalk typically. And I don't know if I mentioned, but soft necks typically store a little bit longer, which for me that's pretty huge. We use a lot of garlic. We have a root cellar now in our barn, so if I can have a variety that stores for a long time, that's super important to me. Okay, so in this 3x6 raised bed, this is how I normally plant them. I do a trench down the center, and then I do 2 more trenches on either side like this. So basically we'll have 5 6-foot rows, so 30 feet of garlic total in one bed. So since we're doing 2 of these beds, we'll have 60 feet of garlic planted. Okay, so the first step is to get our soil amended. I'm just going to put the land and sea compost on top, starter fertilizer. I'll kind of use I have a little garden fork, and I'm just gonna work it into the top layer, and then we'll get everything planted and watered in. So anyway, let's get after it, Benjamin. Yeah. I've got all the cloves laid out on top of the soil surface here. I decided not to do the trench method because as I got to working the soil, it's pretty loose. So I can just pop the bulbs down in there, or the cloves rather, down in pretty easily. So at this point what you do is you plant them pointy side up. You can see the root side looks a little bit more rough and point goes up. So like with this one here, I'm just gonna go a couple inches underneath the soil surface and done. So we're gonna do that with the rest of these, then we'll get this watered in and move on to the second bed. And 85 cloves per bed means we will end up with roughly 170 heads of garlic next year if everything goes perfectly. All right, now we're gonna work on bed number 2. I saved this one for last because it's nice and sunny and a little warmer over here. We may go ahead and just harvest all these pumpkins too while we're at it. Garlic is in, pumpkin vine is cleaned up, and there were 14 beautiful pumpkins. So the variety is Cinnamon Girl. They're an 85-day maturity. I planted them on July the 9th, so 94 days ago, which means they've been in the ground about 9 days over their maturity. But for fall crops, you do need to add extra time onto their maturity days just because, you know, the nights are cooler, days are longer. It takes things longer to ripen and mature. There were other pumpkins. There was probably like 3 or 4 other little ones, but they were a lot smaller and pretty green. And all the vines and extra pumpkins and things go to Paul's house where the pigs feast. So I love that. I love that they aren't wasted at all. Really fun for being an experimental variety. I had never grown it before, and really planting them in July, that's pushing it for us. And we have a long growing season. So anyway, my plan for these is to take them all downtown. We are going to be doing a free flower day, I think later this week, hopefully, if everything works out right. And I'm going to take all the rest of my extra pumpkins and squash and anything that we have time to harvest, any peppers, beans, things like that, down just to give away that day. So that's where these will be heading. It's actually getting a lot more pleasant out here. The wind isn't blowing quite as much, and I think I can almost shed a layer here in a minute. But I do want to plant a couple more things out in the south garden. I've got all of my plants loaded up. I've got 3 different things, 2 types of shrub and 1 type of ornamental grass, one of which is going to be up closer to the house. So I stopped right here because this, I think on the west side is where I'm going to put it. And that's this one right here. This is a Fothergilla, I think is how you pronounce that, but it's a bottle brush. And this is a dwarf. So it grows 3 by 3. They typically prefer a little bit of protection in our area so that their leaves don't burn. But look at how beautiful. The fall color is starting to emerge. And we've got kind of yellow and orange and deep red. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. So bottle brush plants bloom bottle brush shaped blooms. You can see one that's left over right here, kind of. So white in early spring is when they emerge, and they are fragrant. And this is a zone 4 through 9. I think I'm going to be putting this one right here, kind of tucked under this lilac. Even though the lilac may not stay, it's still a pretty protected spot right in here. And you can see I've got nothing going on in there. So it'll be a nice accent because all of these are annuals. These are all going. And so, like I said, even though the lilac may not be staying, there's still protection from the locust tree up above. And then these maple trees do shade quite a bit of this area in the afternoons. Like the coleus and potato vine and hostas, they're all very, oh, I forgot I put hostas in here. So I do have a few perennials. There are 3 in this area, Hudson Bay hostas. So they did really well in this spot. So I think that this plant will do great. And these are the other 2. This is a type of Pennisetum called Redhead. Really showy plumes. Now this is a zone 6 through 9, so this is going to be sketch. I don't know if it's going to survive, but I do have some leaf mulch, and I thought after we plant them up we can put some leaf mulch up around the plant to kind of protect it a little bit. But I'd like to try because they are so pretty. And then I have a golden ticket privet. I have had this since last spring actually. So it's got some hard water and stuff because it's been, you know, in the high tunnel, and now it had been in the greenhouse for a little while. But these grow about 6 by 6, beautiful bright leaf color when they come out, and then they kind of deep into a chartreuse, a deeper chartreuse color. They bloom and they're non-invasive. So those of you guys who have experienced some of the older varieties of privets, you know that they can be invasive. So this one does not spread itself around. It kind of stays put and has this really pretty kind of vase shape. And I just want to have it as a standalone. I'm not going to use it as a hedging specimen or anything like that. We had privets here, a lot of privets when we moved in, and they were just, they were pretty horrible. So I just want this to be a nice pretty accent shrub out in the south garden. So let's get our bottle brush planted quick, and then we'll head out and plant the rest. I am using my auger and some Biotone starter fertilizer. It's tucked back in there. That looks so beautiful. I really like it with the lamium too, and I really want the lamium to even fill in more over here. So because this one stays 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide, that means it grows 1.5 feet from center on either side, which means it will barely, if even, touch the boxwood on that side, and it'll come about up to here. It'll just be a really beautiful, perfectly sized shrub for this area. I love it. All right, privets and grasses made it right out here to this corner. I think it's going to be really beautiful. It's just filling in so nicely. Can you see those sumacs over there? Oh, they're just starting to color up beautifully. But the textural difference will be really nice here. We've got the spruce, which has got a little bit more of a blue tinge, and then this will be more kind of globe shaped, vase shaped, and different color. So this one will be more on the green chartreuse side. Now, I don't know if I mentioned that they do bloom white fragrant blooms on old wood. So want to be careful about when you prune this one, if at all. I mean, if you can put it somewhere where you just let it go, that's best. Zone 5 through 8, if I didn't mention that. And then the grasses, you guys, these get 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide. So a significantly sized, I mean, like a small shrub or a medium-sized shrub. And when I initially thought of planting them out here, you can see that's where I made my second hole there, because I was going to do a grouping. And then I decided to spread them out further, because based on where the height is going to be here, I thought it might be nice to put something else that's got some height there, another evergreen perhaps, or something like a lilac, or I don't know, something really nice. Anyway, so grass here, in between the spruce and privet, and then over here on the side. I think that'll be really nice. And based on where this line is going to be too, there's lots of room in front of the privet. So here's a sprinkler. All of this right here, I've got to clean all of this up. All of that, it comes in like 1 to 2 feet. So once that's all cleaned up, we can see exactly where the line is and what other things we can fill in with. I just wanted to pop over here real quick just to show you what these tiger eyes sumacs are looking like up closer. Aren't they just so gorgeous? They kind of start in with the yellow and then turn that really vivid orange red. They're just so beautiful. And this variety of sumac here is also a non-invasive type, just kind of like the golden ticket privet. I mean, we've got a lot of space out here to let things naturalize, which I do want to let some things go. And I think these will go a little bit, but not like some of the traditional varieties. And you know, I just look at this space and it's just, it's kind of incredible how much we've gotten done this year. Like I look at it and really think about all the infrastructure. I mean, we have done a lot this year. Still have a ton of space to work with, which is so fun. Dreaming about all the different things that we can plant. That'll be a really huge part of my winter this year, just kind of planning out some of these areas. Now that we have some things in, it's easier for me to kind of build around, you know, the bigger trees that we have planted and things like that. And we get to do more fluff stuff and not as much trenching and sprinkler systems and things like that. So anyway, that's it for today. Really happy with all the stuff we got done. I mean, garlic was the #1 priority, and I thought as long as I can get out here and get that done. When I looked out the window, it was so windy this morning. It's so nice right now, but it was so windy, I thought, well, that's probably all I'm gonna get done. So a little bit of planting and harvesting is just an extra bonus. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.